Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Welcome to this interview with Darcy Sullivan. We try to have her on every so often to discuss search, Google, all the SEO type of stuff. And, today's day and age is fascinating with AI. And so we're going to dive into the topic of how AI is impacting Google search. And we'll probably have a handful of these conversations over the next 6 to 12 months as things do change. I do think a lot of it will benefit us as chiropractors. I think you just need to understand what you need to do to compete in a world where people are using AI, like a ChatGPT, a Grok, a Claude, any of those, to search for their answers or their solutions to their problems. And you need to be able to be the answer to that. I've shared on previous podcasts how patients are now finding chiropractors using the AI versus going into Google and typing in chiropractor or whatever. They are still doing that, but it's starting to change a little bit. I do think being a physical location will benefit us. But in this conversation that Darcy and I have today, we really dive into some of the things you need to be considering to do, get ahead of it, and plan for the future. It is here and it's coming fast, and it's okay. You're going to be all right. You just got to make sure you keep up with it. Just like, if you've been in practice for 5, 10, 20, 25 years, I'm in my 20th year of practice now. It looks a whole lot different now than it did in 2005 when I graduated, so 20 years. But 2010 looked different than 2005 and so on and so forth. So you just got to keep up with it, and we're here to help you out as much as you need. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Darcy Sullivan. Okay, as I do once, twice, or 3 times a year, have Darcy Sullivan on our podcast to give us updates on all things SEO, search, Google, and then now we're going to tie in a little bit of AI. So what's new in your world, Darcy?
Well, hi, and thanks for having me back. We were chatting a couple minutes before you hit record, and I was talking to you about how Google just had an event, Google I/O. It was mid-May, end of May, and they were talking about what's new and where they're headed, what's going on with AI, which led to the conversation of AI mode, which is a new feature on Google that I don't think many people are talking about, or a lot of people have really dived into and tried, which now, right, with Google, we've got
Yeah.
general Google, we've got Google business profile listings, we've got Google AI mode, we've got Google AI overviews, we have all of these things on top of all the other ways people are searching these days.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I listen to a lot of podcasts on it. We're trying to here at MCM. I wouldn't consider myself an AI expert, but I'm definitely plugged into a lot of different resources and learnings to keep our company up to speed with that, and then ultimately help chiropractors navigate this and implement certain things like we are with our clients. But one of the things I keep on hearing, I actually listened to an interview of the CEO of Google, and funny enough, I know that the at least one, but maybe both founders are back at it big time, helping out because it's such a big thing. But they were talking about the idea of the innovator's dilemma, which is when you sometimes have to burn your money, cash cow producing things to keep up with the trend. And that's a hard thing right now because Google has obviously made so much money off search and ads, but things are changing and they're trying to figure that out. So it's interesting.
Yes, it's definitely evolving, put it that way.
Yeah. Just give us a kind of overview of what the AI mode is.
Okay, so AI mode, which I would suggest to everybody listening, is that, after sometime this week, just take 5 minutes,
Mhm.
play with it, play with regular Google, play with ChatGPT to ask it chiropractors in your area and specific questions. AI mode is more of that conversational search. And the way it's delivering information looks different. So, for example, before our call, I went to Google and I just typed in Boca Raton Sports Chiropractor.
Hmm.
And I typed in the same thing in AI mode just to see how it displays information and
Hmm.
what information it displays. And yeah, obviously your business is one of the top ones that's showcased.
Of
But
course.
yeah, always nice, right? But it pulls information differently and it leaves you ready to ask questions. So it could be about approaches, it could be more for that educated user or searcher. So we have to realize everybody's searching differently. You had the episode on recently about how somebody found you because they were searching for a doctor who was similar to another doctor.
Yep.
And that's a very different mindset and of somebody searching versus somebody that's just clicking on every ad they see for a chiropractor near me. So one thing that we really want to do is get into the mindset and understand the process that people go through when they're looking for your services. And it's really great when you do have that dialect with them because you do have the data points from Google Analytics and other options, but having that conversation with them with how did you find out about us helps you get into their mindset of what keywords are they using, what terminology were they using, what sources did they use to look at the information.
Hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating to see the psychology changing, and we've seen this in the past where Facebook dominated, and then Instagram popped up, and you saw a difference in the psychology around that, or even who is using it, the age groups and stuff like that. And so you saw a big swing to Instagram content, and so now, we're in a situation where AI is changing search. It's higher intent search, and I think we just have to be prepared for that, right? And I think one of the things that I had talked about also in the podcast was kind of just give everybody a little bit of context was that, content is still going to matter a lot and probably even more than before. And I want to go down that route a little bit and then we'll circle back to some more of the details of AI and search. But again, not everybody listens to every episode, but Gary Vee was at Parker Vegas, the big chiropractic conference, and he was one of the keynote speakers. And he was talking about AI and search, and he talked about just creating a lot of content. And then I think ultimately why I'm doing pretty well on the AI search is because we've consistently created a ton of content over time, and that's where the AI is piecing it together as far as what type of chiropractor we are, the types of um, audience persona that we target, and things like that. What are some of your thoughts on the content side of things as it relates to where the AI search is going?
So when you're describing that you're pushing out a lot of content, it's not that you're pushing out a lot of content, you're pushing out valuable content. There's a huge difference between just pushing out general basic content versus content that relates to your target audience, that relates to search terms, that relates to your brand identity. So, sometimes people are like, well, let's go try AI and I'll just have it write all this content for me and I'll have it do all this and I'll have it do all that. And it does, but it also does that for every single other person that asks it the same basic questions. So
Mm.
content is absolutely important, more
Yep.
important now probably than before, but it's when it's done the right way, which you guys are absolutely doing. And I know that's one of the things that you really push through here, but there really is a difference between doing content versus valuable content.
Yeah, and that's why, as you obviously help out with our media side of our offering with chiropractors, is that um, it's not canned uh, content on video and things like that. We're coaching our clients to shoot 4 videos, and the idea of turning them into influencers isn't our goal. We're not trying to turn them into YouTube paid ad. They're getting like $1 million a year on YouTube ads, but with our chiropractors that are consistently creating content, which we're getting them to shoot 4 videos and we do all the production and editing and producing, and then we do all the distribution for them. So it's going on YouTube, it's going on Google Business Profile, we're posting on their Instagram and Facebook, email going out once a week. You're doing a robust blog for our members every other month that goes on their website. We're doing a lot of that so that they are creating consistent content that's educational based, like to your point, and it's their information. It's not just canned content. It's their info, their expertise. And so when that consistently happens, I think chiropractors need to rewire their brain a little bit on, say, creating content. It's not, I'm going to shoot this video, I'm going to get 1 million views, and I'm going to get 10 new patients from that. Maybe that happens. That's great. But if it doesn't, which is not going to happen for everybody, you still doing that every month is going to be beneficial. And I think chiropractors need to start understanding that they're going to really gain from that, especially against their competitors locally. Was I accurate in that? Did I miss anything?
You did. And when we do talk about content, not just video content, blog content, content for
All
the
of it.
website, we also want to make sure that you're creating content that either fits people specifically at certain stages of them deciding whether or not they're going to do business with you, or that in that you also include content that hits everybody at every stage.
Mhm.
And that you're tying it together because the web is just that, it's a web. And so on your website, when you've got this great content, like it's great to have videos, but if you're going to put a video on your website, you're not just going to put a blog and drop a video in and be like, we
Mm.
dropped a blog. You need that text for people to gather and read and for Google to grab onto and understand. Then how does it relate to other pieces of content on your website? Because as we look at these AI solutions, they're going through and they're crawling all these data points and all this information on your website to provide the best result. And the way that they're able to do that is to crawl and to understand the way that your website works and what your clear offering is. So that's when we do see issues, which we have been for years, of people who had like generic content on their website or website that doesn't match what they're offering, or they have a chiropractic care page, but it has all of a paragraph on it where it's not giving that robust information that helps AI sort through the information on your website to deliver you as the solution. And not only AI, but also Google and other search results.
Let's take a short break for one of our great sponsors, TrackStat. It is a new type of software plugin for your EHR that combines patient communication, marketing, automation, and statistics with patient and employee tracking. Built by chiropractors for chiropractors, it shows your team what to focus on each day. See patient visit habits, missing information, unpaid bills, insurance collection visit average, and more. Great visibility of data so you can focus on filling your office with your best patients. When you can see what your staff and patients are doing or not doing and take action accordingly, your profits naturally grow. Take TrackStat for a test drive in your office with our free trial. Not a techie, no problem, we can help. To get started on your free trial, visit trackstat.org and watch the demo. That is trackstat.org. Obviously, a big part of what we've done over the years with you and on our end is we have robust services pages, written content on there, video on there, conditioned pages, all those built out. That was a project. And then also the blogs we do consistently. And one of the things that we have talked to our clients about on the condition page side of things is like, look, shoot videos on a particular like make this a project, because sometimes they get overwhelmed. They might have 30 conditions they treat and they want to have 30 condition pages. And I was like, make it a project. Maybe it takes a year. I think it took us over a year to do, but this was 5 or 6 years ago, and it's been worthwhile. And when we created, we did like 3 or 4 per month, and then we would distribute those out as our content through other platforms. So it was killing two birds with one stone. And so that's something that we talk a lot with our members. And I think the other thing that I keep on learning as I attend some of these virtual summits and certain things like that around AI is that it's really going to be human plus AI is where the magic's going to be, not just AI. Like to your point, you wouldn't want to go into ChatGPT and say, write me a headache blog. And then you just do that, and then you take it, and then you put that on your website. That's just going to be not great. But if you had, let's just say you shot a great video, a 4-minute video on headaches, and it's your information, you could take that video and upload it to something like Descript and get a transcript from it and upload it and say, write me a page, like an email or something written or a social media post or something to help you out to get that video. Like maybe you're going to post that video on Facebook and now you have a catchy title and something like that. That's your information and it's you plus the AI helping you out a bit. So I think that's something people need to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are using these AI tools to help you, you know, you shouldn't rely solely on them, but
Yeah.
giving them directive about your writing style, showing them examples of things you've written before. Um, you know, like you said with headaches, having them create a you know, leverage content that you've put together to create something. And then you go back and forth with, like, I never take it for what it spits out as the first result. And same goes for like if you're coming up with like a catchy title for your email blasts or your blogs, I always tell it like, you know, or suggest to people if you're going to take a blog post and tell it to write an email for you, give it the blog post, but then tell it to give you 4 variations of what the email should be and why it selected them, which one's the best. And then it gives you room to take elements from those and then maybe you like a paragraph from one and a paragraph from other, merge it together, and then you go back to it and say, this is what I have. How do we get this to the next level? That's a very different way than going to Chat GPT and just saying, write me an email about
Yeah.
fill in the blank.
No, exactly. That's why I want to make sure people know because I do have a feeling many, I'll just talk about chiropractors, but people in businesses in general or marketers in general are going to take the easy route and just have AI try to create all its content. And I don't think it's going to have the same traction because, the AI is going to know and the Google's going to know. But let's switch gears a little bit on the physical location. Like if obviously our audience has physical chiropractic locations for the most part. Psychologically, people are probably going to still use Google maybe for that. Like, find me a chiropractor near me or chiropractor Boca Raton. Do you think people will do that and have less of a problem than say if you were maybe you were a news site and you're trying to get people to your news site to get ads and all that, whereas people might not be looking at that. They might just search uh, AI for that. Is there any difference there?
So I would say a couple things. One, as a physical location, you know, you are going to have people that are searching from their phone. They
Mhm.
could be using Apple Maps to find your location. They could be searching online. So you do want to make sure that all of your listings online are congruent, that they have the correct name, address, phone number. That helps in general because when that information matches, first of all, you want people to show up to the right location.
Mhm.
Um, but that's going to help you no matter where somebody is searching. The fact that you've got this congruent information that showcases your business.
Mhm. Perfect. So that could help out a little bit. Let's take a short break from today's episode to tell you about the best decision I've made in my clinic in the last 10 years, and that has been adding shockwave therapy to our clinic. The outcomes have been really impressive. Certain conditions we were struggling with in the past, we're now seeing results with the shockwave therapy for that. And second of all, the ROI has been really good. When you make a big investment in something, you want to see a return, and we're seeing that return in clinical outcomes and in our investment, and that's been really nice to see. I chose Keenest Medical for 4 reasons. One is the technology is top notch. You have to have great technology. There's a lot out there that isn't quite up to snuff. The second thing is they have a really good clinical training. They have an exclusive partnership with Academy of Shockwave Excellence so that you can become clinically proficient in shockwave. You do need to get skilled at it. I think that's a big differentiator between practices that are getting great results and seeing the ROI is they have a great clinical aspect to that as well. So you want to get trained appropriately. Third is they have in-house service team for all of your technical support, which is key when you're investing in a machine like this. And then lastly, they have a very in-depth marketing and business support for you so that you can launch this into your practice effectively, that you can get that ROI on it, that you can get the clinical outcomes. And they also have really good financing options if you need that. So go to kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, mention MCM podcast and receive a free shockwave in practice book with a purchase of a unit. So that's kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, and mention MCM podcast. Now, on the psychology of things, do you think you're starting to see a lot more people going directly to AI? I mean, I know for myself, I've actually put on my homepage, like on your iPhone at least, you can put the app as like a big app on there, and
Yeah.
you can what's that called? I forget that.
I
Uh,
can't remember what.
yeah, but
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
finally did that, and I've almost like retrained myself to just ask the AI stuff versus logging on, like going to my Google app that I used to do.
I mean, I think it's gonna come up to the way people search and the mentality and the fact that younger people are gonna be more adaptive to this. I
Yeah.
absolutely think that. So, one, it directly depends on your audience, right? I mean, if you're in New York City, your audience is going to be different than if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's one stop sign.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that when you go about SEO from a place where you're focusing on amazing content on your website that truly highlights your offerings, when you have it properly optimized, when you have your Google business profile listing properly optimized, when you've given a little love to Yelp, even though I know some people don't love Yelp, but that you've
Mhm.
got quality reviews there and a couple reviews on Facebook and a couple other reviews sprinkled throughout that showcase that you are a legitimate business. No matter the way people search, no matter how people search, where they search is using some form of aggregated data that it's collecting from all these various
Mhm.
locations.
Yeah.
So even though search is changing, and we saw this before, like back in the day when before voice search, you would type in Facebook CEO. Now you would type in who is the CEO of Facebook, or you would skip. So when you get back to basics when it comes to SEO, everything that we've been saying for a long time is still relevant, if not
Mhm.
more relevant now. It's just that you're casting a wider net. And sometimes when you cast this wider net, all of those data points might not show up on Google Analytics. So you've got to be sure that you're tracking your conversions, how people are actually coming to find you and noticing that there's probably more than one touch point before they make the decision.
Yeah, absolutely. People are doing their due diligence now, which is good. Um, and that's why I think, that total web presence that I've referenced before is continuing to do that and trusting that process. You're going to gain a lot more new patients per year, and whatever the effort you put into it and return you're going to get as long as you do it. And again, you don't have to be a world class content creator on video or an A-list celebrity or, you know, um, Hemingway when you're writing, but it's got to be authentic. It's got to be you. It's got to be educational. I think we have a leg up on that with other businesses that we have a lot of great education and great information to give out to our community that will be useful. So that'll be good. But what would be a handful of your recommendations for chiropractors just kind of in a little bit of a summary of things that they should be doing, they should be considering doing. We're not going to touch base. One of the things that I kind of thought about touching base on would be AI's impact on Google Ads. I'm going to do a little more due diligence on that before I navigate that topic. But what would be some of your things you would recommend chiropractors do to try to stay ahead of the curve as it relates to AI and search?
Yeah. So I would say a couple of things. If you're just getting started, focus on the foundation of making sure that you have a website. And even though it might take you a year or so to build out a full, robust website and be ready to really dive into content, that your listings online are congruent, that you've optimized your Google business profile listing, that your name, address, and phone number are listed correctly throughout all online listings, that you're collecting those reviews, that you're starting to dip your toes into the world of content,
Mhm.
and that your website is mobile friendly, that it's SEO optimized, which we don't have time today to go into all of those
Yep.
details of what's required with that. But then once you do have that, then go on that content journey to making sure that your content is in alignment with what people are searching for. And that usually surrounds the services that you offer and the conditions that you treat, which really, like, if you're just getting started, start with the basics, which are what are most of the problems and what are most of the solutions.
Mhm. Yeah, you mentioned like a year to do some things, and I always find it funny because sometimes people don't get into really making their website a content-rich platform or shooting content consistently because they know it's a long game and they feel overwhelmed with that project. But it's just like, but then they'll buy a house and remodel it for a year, and and take that time. But it's like sometimes when you own a business, every business, like like some of the successful ones, they're making decisions and doing things that they know may not bear fruit in 5 to 10 years. Like Amazon was like famous for that. And as a business owner, you have to start doing things and working on, step by step and getting going and know that it might not bear fruit for 6, 12, 18 months, but it will. And you got to just trust that process. So if you need to completely revamp a website, you got to start working on it. If you know having 30 condition pages on your website would be amazing, but it sounds daunting, start by having 2 to 4 of them done a month or whatever, and just keep on plugging away. And as you're creating that content, get it distributed out to your audience. So just take it step by step. Know that it's going to be important, especially as we continue to progress through this AI.
Yeah, and I think that you pointed out a good point there. It's a layered approach. And so in your when you're doing SEO and when you're doing content right, you're using it also on social media, on your email list. And I don't want to jump ahead too far, but I could see in 2 years, depending on how Google sorts things out with how they want to go with AI.
Mhm.
Are they going to be looking at the fact that somebody was on your email list
Mhm.
because they're using Gmail, and they take that information to also put into the factor when they're delivering results in search?
Mhm.
Again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but you do have this, again, all online presence that you do want to make sure that you're providing value, but you're doing it in a way that's going to help you now and in the future.
Yeah, I envision my practice in 5 years will have a ton of new patients just because AI is sending people to our practice. AI is doing my notes, and I've got humanoid robots doing things in the practice, except for the adjustment. It's going to be a wild ride the next 5 to 10 years, and I'm here for it. So, Darcy, thanks again for bringing your expertise. How can our audience reach out to you if they need all things SEO, website, and everything you offer for chiropractors?
Sure. They can always visit the website propelyourcompany.com, or they can book a call, or find additional resources. And I'll give you an AI guide that we have that you can drop in the show notes along with some other stuff if you want it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth, and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things, and we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.